Persperity Podcast. In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we will take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Persperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for people healing from trauma. Persperity Podcast, a safe space for
No, you can do it while you're
people
standing up.
healing from trauma.
Let me say, God.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is good to be on this podcast today
Rip this
with
out.
introduction. Welcome back, everybody, to Persperity Podcast. Today, we are opening up a necessary tender space to discuss the unexpected call, a conversation on grief, love, and hope. This is an episode dedicated to navigating a profound, messy, and often solitary journey through loss and discovering the seeds of hope that remain. I'm honored to welcome my little brother here to share his side of the story of the passing of our dad on December 15th, 2022, exactly 3 years ago today. And his name is Courtney Smith. Get ready for a conversation that will touch your reshape your perspective healing and resilience. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this vital episode on YouTube. Courtney, welcome to Persperity Podcast. Would you like to share anything? Business, what do you do before we get into these questions?
I'm a father. That's about it.
I hear nephew in the background.
Running around being bad.
Yeah.
Let me not say that because his mama on here.
Oh, hey, sis-in-law. Is that Johnny Johnson?
Yeah, John A.
And Johnny. Hey, sis-in-law. Yes. Okay. So, wow. We're gonna get right into these questions. Yeah. So the title of our episode is The Unexpected Call. Can you describe in detail the moment you picked up the phone and realized the gravity of the news that you are about to share with me?
What makes it so bad? We were literally. If no one knows, my son's birthday is tomorrow. We were literally just about to induce her into labor, and our other sister Jada called me, and I don't know how. First of all, I don't even know how that she knew before me because she stayed 2 hours away. So she called me and was basically like, "Yeah, they don't think he's gonna make it through the night." And then, like I said, my head all messed up because this is supposed to be a great day for me. You welcome in a child, is happy, and everything just turned dark so fast.
Real bad. Yeah. I remember I had just got home from Clark-Atlanta University. I was on break and I had just got back home to Kansas City, and I was on my way with my godmom to go get something to eat, and I missed a call from you, And I think you reached out to me, but then you missed the call, and I was like, okay, what's going on? And you called. I called you back, and you were like, Dad, Dad only got a couple hours to live, and I was just like, Mama, I was like, what? What? I didn't even know he was sick.
See, that was my thing. Like I knew he was like sick, but like I didn't know. Like when I got to the hospital, I didn't know because he was a diabetic. If no one knows, he had lost one of his legs a couple months before that, but I didn't know that he got his other leg cut off. So when I got there, he not up, he incoherent. He his both his legs on. So I'm like I'm dumbfounded because I'm like I didn't even know he was this sick. Like that's crazy.
And I knew nothing. I'm literally out here living my life. Like in school, doing all these different things, and I'm excited to be back home. From Atlanta, and I get that news, and I'm just like mind blown. I'm like, I didn't know he was sick. I knew he had diabetes because they found out when he was in jail and all of that.
Hmm.
But I didn't know it got that bad. He was on dialysis, and he was thinking he would take care of himself. But you know how our dad was. He loved the game more than he loved
Yeah.
anything else. So that was a lot to have to, take in, with realizing that, how I felt was he just didn't care about himself enough to fight, for his life, for what it meant to just be on this earth. You know what I mean? It was just like it kind of felt like he just gave up.
Yeah, I feel like he was one of those people that was like not gonna say he didn't love life, but you know what? He loved the game more than he loved life. So he wasn't taking care of himself. He was more concerned with money and things like that. So he prioritized that over being healthy or doing what he had to do. Because honestly, when he lost the first leg, I thought that would have been an eye opener, but I mean, I guess not.
Right. I just remember um when I got the phone with you, I just boo-hooed. I was actually so just like I was disheveled for a second, and I just started just breaking down crying. And I called my sister on my birth mother's side, Manisha, and she was like, call him back, call your brother back. And this is your time to, tell, Falcus what like take this time. And I remember I called you back and I asked you, I was like, put the phone up to, I was like, FaceTime me. And because I wanted to just tell him what I needed, just I wanted the last words that he heard from me was I forgive you, I love you, all that stuff. Even though he didn't even know who I was, and you had to tell him who I was. Just seeing him like that was like, him not being able to talk and everything like that was a lot, to take in.
Mhm.
But in reality, you were the only person. You were the only person that called me. You were the only person that even thought to even call and say anything to me.
Yeah,
And
my thing about that, I was more concerned because not to say we wasn't the closest, but that was still my dad at the end of the day. But my biggest thing was I want to let all his kids know because it's like 1,600 of us.
that
So the first thing I thought of was who don't know. So I started reaching out to everybody. I reached out to some of my close friends. I reached out to Tony because he didn't know, and so because I'm calling there because nobody even knew he's in the hospital. Because apparently he was in the hospital for some days, and nobody told anybody. And then that's when he got bad. They put him in the ICU. So I'm just on the phone calling everybody like, hey, he's not gonna make it through the night. If you want to come up here, come up here. If you want to talk to him, call me. I'll have you talk to him. That was my biggest thing.
mm, like and knowing like the distance among the siblings on our birth father's side, why do you believe you were the one who felt a profound singular obligation to make that call to me? Aside from, you were calling different people and all of that.
Like I said, I mean, it ain't just your dad, and I know that you far away. So I was 100% sure nobody talked to you. Like before I even left the hospital, you was the first person I called because I'm like, I know nobody called Destiny. I know nobody talked to Destiny because they didn't even call me. If Jada didn't call me, and I don't even know how she got in contact, I wouldn't have known either.
And
So
it's
like I
just
said, my biggest thing was I want to call my siblings that I know that ain't gonna know to make sure that they know what's going on, because the worst thing you want to hear. How do you think it would have been? Don't you think it would have been different if the next day, you woke up to a text message say, Falcons dead.
That part.
Now you waking up and you like, huh?
Because I felt like, I ain't gonna lie, like, when you had told me and grandma didn't tell me and nobody said anything to me, because you already know. I mean, I honestly, I feel like the black sheep of the family, and that's the reality of it. But I was like, no one felt the need to reach out to me, despite that's my birth father, to at least let me even help or do something, and that just like that hurt, and even with the planning of his services, that hurt too. Because I was like, wow, like it's a time for us to really come together, and having to realize like couldn't get all of the kids together enough to get all the signatures. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to the funeral home and I'm talking to them and I'm just like, look, I'm the oldest sibling. I'm not that's not incarcerated and that's here right now. Give me a document so we could sign to get this man cremated. That was just that. I was like, look, I ain't going back with nobody. I just kind of just want to get this over with. Like, for real. I came down like an hour. I mean, well, the day before the services. And I was just mind blown at just the whole process of what.
I will
Um,
say him being a single man and having 30 kids and us having to make decisions is. I
yeah,
just want to let everybody know out there. Please have your what's it called? Your everything in order, so so exactly what you want can happen. Don't leave it up to nobody else, because it's 20 of us arguing about what we want, and at that point it don't get to what's better for him. At that point it becomes, what do this person want?
exactly. And it's
So get
important.
y'all a lawyer.
Get your insurance first, get your lawyer, get your insurance worker, whatever that may be. Get your stuff in order of who you want to be, planning your services, carrying out your wishes, not just anybody, people that you trust, that that's going to handle that, because anything can happen at any time. And the way that people act, especially us black folk act when people pass away, we think we obligated to certain things and to do certain things, and we're not as mindful because we're dealing with our emotions or whatever that may be. So make sure y'all have that in order, because when it's legally wrote down and when a lawyer has it, no one can do anything different. Don't just have it just be a verbal thing, or just, wrote on a piece of paper. Like, get it to a lawyer, get it what they call that, notarized or whatever that is. So you'll have that.
Not
Because
even notarized. If you just have, because I went through with my mom this year with the same stuff. So if you just sit down with a lawyer and get all your affairs in order, it don't matter if you 20, 40, whatever old you are. It's never, you can always go back and edit it, but make sure that you have everything in order, because if you leave this earth and you don't have anything, it then becomes a game of tug of war where everybody wants this, who's getting that. Everybody don't look at you for you. They look at you for what you had. And that's another thing with our dad is, I didn't even know he had this much stuff, but that man got houses, boats, cars, RVs. He got a bunch of everything. And at that point, who gets what? We all as kids, so there's no way to evenly, divvy up anything.
yeah, I mean, in all honesty, you knew. Other One thing that man was notorious for, and I ain't trying to throw no shade, but this reality, was fathering other people's kids. And those other people's kids that was not biologically his felt more obligated than his biological kids. Because I'm just like, I remember that one time you had said something. I don't know which kid it was. You was like, did I just hear this nigga say daddy? What?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I will not comment further on that, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right? It's like, that ain't what we don't even deal with that. Like, that dude don't even deal with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, but next question. What was the immediate emotional landscape after hanging up the phone with me and others? Did you allow yourself to feel the grief, or did the responsibility of the messenger take over?
Uh, the responsibility of the messenger took over, just because I don't know why, but for some reason the doctor was asking me to make all the decisions, like to pull the plug and what do we want to do. And I'm just like, I'm just here. Why you come up to me? All these people are here. And I guess because I seem the most level headed because everybody else was, out of it. And um but I really think the task of being a messenger was, I don't say more important than my grief, but I just felt at that moment it was real important for everybody, over that was, a part of him to know what was going on. Because like I said, I'm still not in the right mind because, she's my wife now. She's 20 minutes away in the hospital, about to give birth.
And I have some questions on that. I'm gonna get to them questions on that as well. Um, but the next question: how did the act of having to deliver that message, the unexpected call, impact your own ability to process that imminent loss?
Uh, it kind of made me feel better because I felt like uh it made me feel better. I was bringing people, to him. So instead of focusing on my grief, like on my loss, I was looking at the positives. Like we lost them, but I was able to bring because I'm pretty sure you feel better that you got to say what you need to say. So that made me feel better. So it's because it's like I gave somebody the opportunity to say their last wishes. Um, so that took a lot of weight off my shoulder. And like I said, just being able to call people and be there for the rest of my siblings that was there, it was just a better feeling at the time.
Because I always talk about that. I was like, I'll never forget the one person that didn't forget about me in a time where I really needed to know that. I really did. Like, I was, my whole mindset was just, I was froze. But I know at those services, I know my whole mindset was set to make sure grandma was okay, to, not be angry, not be frustrated, not see it from my point of view, but show up. Because that
Hmm.
night when I showed up, I was like, look, I'm going to Walmart. I got groceries galore for grandma, toiletries, whatever. And I went over there, spent some time with her, head back to the hotel. The next day, I showed up early. I signed that document because, he wasn't, of course, he wasn't there. His ashes weren't there at the actual memorial services.
Hmm.
You know, when you're not married, or have anybody over your will or whatever it is, the responsibility go to your children. And all people don't realize that. And I understood during the time, like grandma wanted to be able to, plan that, but the legal obligation goes to the children. And I was just like, okay, let me go ahead and sign this document. Let me get this together because it is her son. And I just wanted to be able to, see everything again from her perspective and what she may be dealing with, what she may be battling with, and not be angry and frustrated with everybody else. Because one thing I realized that people are going to do, they're going to make assumptions and they're going to be thinking that you feel some type of way, or that, which is why I felt like a lot of people didn't reach out to me, because I did over the years after after I left grandma house when I was like, what, 17, all the stuff that was going on there. I, yeah, I was estranged, and I been out here focusing and doing the things I need to do, um, healthy, legally, and maintaining stability. But still, I felt like I was robbed of that opportunity to be there because of what people anticipated that I was, or assumed I was, or whatever space that they thought I was in. But I
Hmm.
just had to realize that sometimes when you're dealing with people, people are only going to, you know, their mindsets are only set to the version of you in their head that they believe is to be true.
Yeah, they only see what's on the outside. They don't know. Like all the time with the situation with my mom, nobody knows the private conversation we that you have with a person or their relationship. They just see on the outside the interaction that you have with them when they see.
Mhm.
Nobody knows what's going on in your head, what's going on in their head. They can't see what's behind the scenes. They only see what they want to see.
Exactly. And at that moment, I was like, let me go and pay these respects. I was like, and I ain't gonna lie. One of the things that really made me overwhelmed and frustrated was at the services. watching all my siblings standing up in the doorway, and there was no seats for us. I pulled me a seat up next to grandma, but there was no seat. And that made me sad because I was like, what kind of services is this?
We wouldn't need another building for all of us.
You right. We just got it in there deep though. But like, it all, some people felt like they was obligated, and I was like, whatever. But next question. Looking back at that pivotal day 3 years ago, what is one detail or memory of that final conversation with our birth father that is permanently etched into your mind?
Um, I mean, it's not a positive, but that image of seeing him like is always burned in my head because like I said, the last time I saw him, he looked nothing like that. And, I get in the room, he can't speak. He just flailing around. Uh, yeah, it's not a positive one, but like I said, I just remember him just laying there and it just being like, uh, it just sucks.
Was he like, when you went in there, was he not cognizant at all? Did he remember you? Was he able to like talk a little bit? Because I know they said he had so much, what was it, like pus or phlegm or whatever?
Uh, he knew who I was, but not for long. He just kept asking for kept asking for like water and stuff. I guess his mouth was dry. That's really it. But like when I got there, he couldn't talk, but I was like, you know who I am? He's like, yeah.
It's good. It's good. I'm going to these next day questions. The very next day, you welcomed your first child into the world. Can you articulate the paradox of holding profound grief in one hand and profound new love in the other?
I say that was probably like one of the harder days of my life because nobody knows what's going on. So none of the doctors in our hospital knew that I had just lost a parent. Uh, so just trying to be there fully without looking out of it because like I said that there's always a stereotype of black men that we don't want to be there uh or men in general don't want to be at the hospital with the women while she's giving a child. So I didn't want to fall into that statistic because I'm sad, so they're going to automatically assume that I'm upset that she having a baby, or I don't want to be there with her, or whatever this is. Which also shout out to them because the hospital staff also took care of me. Um, but being able to hold my child really just flipped a 180. Uh, so it's the best and worst day of my life actually. But like I said, being able to hold my child and just welcome life and like you said, welcome a new love just really made the situation so much better.
It honestly, when I had called you, you were like, I'm on my way to the hospital to get to my girlfriend. She about to have her baby, and I remember you saying that on your way. I think you were like 10 minutes away from Lake St. Louis. She was on her way to St. Louis, and you were like, "That's dad gone." I remember you just like telling me, and I was just like, "Whoa!" I was like, "What you gonna do?" I was like, "Are you going back?" He was like, "No, I'm on my. I gotta go. I gotta go to my girlfriend. Because she about to have a baby." Um, I never forget that moment, and I never forget talking to my godmom about it, and I was just like, like if you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, it'd be like, okay, one person died and then life became, it get a little weird because it's just like,
Hmm.
everybody else got their mindset like, okay, well, with death comes life, or what did little babies, what if that's the reincarnation of Falcons, whatever that may be, you might get a little weird, whatever, but
Yeah, I hope not. But yeah.
all right, we don't need another one of him. We got no
Yeah.
siblings trying to act like Falcons. Yeah. But I was proud of you. I was like, wow, like you are one of the most strongest resilient persons that I know. With all of the loss that has surrounded you. You're like losing Uncle Tazir last year. That was a lot. I was in Atlanta finishing up my last semester. And I couldn't just leave in the middle of the semester.
Hmm.
Um There was a lot going on. And I wanted to be there, and I talked to grandma. Um, that was a lot too. Like Uncle Tazir and Falcons had they had the same dad, same mom. It was
And
all
that one was the biggest surprise for me because like everybody, you know, Tyler, he got loud, laughing, just full of joy, and I don't even know who. I think you called me. Actually,
I did
I was at work.
because I wanted to return the favor that you did for me because grandma had called and told me.
Yeah, you called me and was like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "At work." You like, "You in a? Can you sit down?" I'm like, "Huh?" Because honestly, in my mind, I don't think you call about grandma. The last person I'm thinking about is Tyzer. Like in all honesty. So you like, yeah, Uncle Tyzer in the hospital. I'm like, huh? Because me, me and Tyzer were close. Like that's the person I call when I was having problems. I call him about my wife, about my son. Because that was actually I first met Tyzer, like met Tyzer, like when we started hanging out when Falcons went to jail. Because him and my mom used to always drive up there. So we would meet somewhere, he would drive up there, and he would always take me and my siblings out to eat. He would always just do stuff with us. So Tyzer was really like a real big figure in my life. So when you called me, I'm like, huh? And I remember I dropped everything I was doing. I left work, went straight to the hospital. And I think his was worse because when I got to the hospital, he was himself. Like his usual self. Like he wasn't out of it. He wasn't nothing. He's still cracking jokes. He's still, he's still himself. And uh I forgot what I was saying. But like I say, that one was a real big surprise on me.
Yeah. I remember talking to him on video chat. I had who did I call? I forgot who I was on video chat. Well, I think it was you. That was you because you was there with nephew, and
Yeah.
he was up there. He was like, he doing fine, and honestly, like that one definitely shook. It definitely shook everything. Cousin Tanya, it was hard for her to accept um that that was what that was. But yeah, that one was sad for real,
Because even
and
when they called and said he passed, I was like, I was just there yesterday. He was his usual self. And I'm thankful for he had a wife, so it wasn't like no unnecessary. And I told her like I just went through this. Well, not the same, but I just went through this for Falcons, because me and my mom really got real spiritual towards her at the end of hers, and her biggest thing was always quality of life. You know, if you make it through this, whatever this is, or whatever, if you making a decision for another person, think about their quality of life afterwards. You know, they might not be able to move as good. They might not be able to do this. They can't even go to the bathroom by themselves. Would you want to live like that? And so that's one of the things I told her. Like, when if they trying to make you make a decision, think about his quality of life afterwards. I know that you would want to be there for him and do all this stuff for him, but would he want you to do all this stuff for him?
yeah. Well, I kind of think about that every now and then about Falcons, like living in that state, that was it's hard to live like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you think of it, yeah, wow. But I could tell you one thing, like Aunt Kathy was the best wife, woman to Uncle Tazir.
100%.
Happened to
She
him.
was there. She was really there every day, 24/7. She was there by his side, and um, she great person, love her to death, respect to her. That man, they loved each other like I ain't never seen.
That part, because I think her and Uncle Tazir was how many years apart? Like what,
I'm not.
10, 15, 12? They was like
I'm not
maybe what,
sure.
12, maybe 10.
I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, 'cause I remember when he first got sick in the early 2000s and he had that stroke.
Hmm.
And I remember just him being like, my grandma telling the story, to us about how, she was like, Aunt Kathy Young, she ain't gonna be there. And Uncle Tyler waking up like, you still here? Like, you here? And he'll realize, like, she's like, yeah, I love you, and I just had to realize, like, you know, just seeing Uncle Tizer was the only example out of grandma, family, all this and that, of a healthy marriage and just love and God fearing and just how they both were with their children and their dynamics.
I'll tell you one thing. That man, I don't know. We talk so much. He always had a story. I'm trying to see if I don't know if they was all true or not. Because you shouldn't have this many stories, man. every time we used to talk, he said, let me tell you this." And I'm like, "Man, what kind of life have you lived? Like you, you would
And
have lived."
I remember Uncle Tazer. I don't know if you knew this about him. He used to Uncle Tazer owned like what, 5 suits and 4 pair of pants or 3 pair of pants, and he used to sacrifice everything just to take care of his family.
Yeah,
Uncle, Uncle
the
Tazer,
old that the old man. That man used to. Oh, I got this new cologne for you, nephew.
right?
Nephew, when I see you, don't nobody got this one.
Yeah, yeah. Uncle Tazer, I'm telling you, he loved his family, and it was anything for them over his own needs because he truly, but everything that he was, like a lot of people know, if y'all don't know, he was a minister, he was a pastor. He was Pastor Tazier. He was well known in St. Louis, but he was a true man of God and true man of his word, and he believed in doing things the way that God said to do, whether that was leading his family, making sure they were okay, being there for people, loving on people, like, yeah.
My biggest thing is at his funeral is hearing everybody else say the same things that you thought about him. That's a great feeling when ooh, you know, you ain't showing, preference or treatment towards me. You love everybody like this. And that's just a great person. And, rest his soul. I'm sorry he had to go, but like, that's just a great thing to hear when you hear that everybody got the same love from him.
Yeah. I mean, because Fox funeral was wild. I remember it was one lady that I was up there by grandma as they was coming in to show love. And she said, "I just loved your daddy. I remember when we dated. He was just like he's
Everyone was full of kids, family, and mistresses.
right." That man
kids,
had
kids,
women.
families, and mistresses.
He had women. Like, well, how many baby mamas he had there? I think it was maybe like three. Three of them was there. Because it was Test Corner.
Because I remember my mama was gonna come and she was like, "Nah, I don't know which one his baby mom's gonna show up. I don't even want
My birth month. Look, Carmen didn't show up neither. I told her not to show up because she be clowning. But yeah, I was like, it was in there. It was deep. You know what I mean? But also, I'm like, he had a pimp there. You see the pimp with the cane in the
Yeah, I
hat?
remember that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
I remember
like, who is that? He
that.
said, I was like, why he dressed like a pimp? He was like, he is a pimp. I was like, yeah, Falcons was deep in there. Like all them other guys, he was like the stories they had about him and how they started out in the game or whatever that was. I was like, this it's something when the world and other people know more about your biological parent than you do, and you are
Yeah,
learning things about them from other people. It just hit different when I that it was fun hearing that. Even seeing Fat Albert, I'm like, Fat Albert, not Fat Albert no more.
man, who you telling? Who is this imposter?
Right? He's skinny. I remember Fat Albert used to like,
Yeah, man. I'm like, huh?
like he was about the only one that I really like recognized that like, and I don't remember Tony was there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because he lost a lot of weight too. Yeah,
Mhm.
because Toy and all of them was there. Yeah. But yeah, it was deep. His services was it was a little strange and awkward. It was different. Um, but on to the next questions. Did the intense joy of your child's arrival provide a necessary shield, or did it compound the feelings of loss and emotional overload?
It did both. Um, it's it's kind of crazy because you got two different feelings coming out. You got grief and you got happiness coming out, and you don't know which one will come out. So like, I got the video of me cutting the umbilical cord and I'm looking awkward because I don't know if I'm gonna bust out in tears of joy or tears of sadness. So I'm trying to keep it all cool because if I snip this umbilical cord and I break down, they gonna be looking at me like I'm crazy because they don't know 12 hours ago I just lost my father. And I'm a big person. I hate social awkwardness. I have social anxiety. So the last thing I want is everybody be looking at me when she just gave birth. Everybody looking at me crazy. But I also, on top of that, my wife now, she was a big support. Her friends that knew what was going on was a big support. So I wasn't in the hospital alone, even though I had to be there for her. She was also there for me. So I'm thankful for that. Even with her in pain, threatening me, telling me I better not move my hand on her back because that I need to put pressure on it, she was still there for me.
I love that. So, how has your memory of the process of grieving our birth father, well, our dad, influenced the way you have shown up as a new father yourself?
Uh, I know what I missed out on. So like I know where I lacked. We know what a lot of stuff I learned or didn't learn. I'm able to compound that into what I know, what I don't know. So like I said, I know the big thing is I know, like I said, I know what I missed out on. I know I want because even though he didn't show up, uh, he was always one weekend every 2 months he would come get all of us. And so I'd be at the door with my bag packed, staring out the screen door, waiting on him. My mom be like, he ain't coming. I'm like, you better leave my daddy alone. He coming. My daddy gonna show up for me. And sometimes he didn't show. And I would never want that for my kid because I know how that felt. Like I used to have my bag packed before I went to school. And Friday when I get home Friday night, I'm grabbing that bag and I'm sitting at the front door. And no matter what, how many times he forgot me about a guy forgot about me, or because the craziest thing, I lived maybe like from kindergarten to freshman year when he went to jail. I stayed a 20-minute walk from Falcons. My whole life. He stayed everywhere around me, and I never saw him like that. And so
You
it just I used huh?
You never knew about him. I remember you found out about your brother because y'all was in the same class, all right?
I
Tayshawn.
mean, I knew Tayshawn. We grew up together. I know him, but I never knew they lived that close until I came to school. I was like, that's my brother, and everybody like, that's not your brother. I'm like, that's my blood brother right there, sitting across from me. And I used to have to walk past his house to go home. And it just a lot of times it hurt because it's like, you don't even have to go out your way to come get me. Like, um, you can literally whatever you finna go do, you can just stop, grab me, drop me off, and go about your day. So I know that was the biggest thing growing up and knowing that my father stayed a 3 minute car ride from me, and I never got to see him like that because he had other priorities that really hurt. So I would just never want that for my kid.
Mm. I look, his mom raised me, and I ain't even see the dude. Like,
Yeah.
never really saw him. Dude came around, and what got me was Falcons will come around and then be in the room, and his kids there, and he over there talking about somebody else's kids. Come here, pretty girl, or come here, baby. He loving on somebody else's kid, and I'm like,
Ain't no his favorite thing. He say, I take care of all my kids.
right, lying. One thing Falcons did, and Grandma always say, she says some of his boys got it honest. Falcons was a liar. He lied
That
so
was one.
much. He
And
told the truth.
he was lying when he put it on his daddy. When he
Right.
said that on my daddy's soul, oh yeah,
On my daddy told
yeah.
his favorite thing was, I swear to God. And Khaleesi said it all the time.
Man, he used to tell people like, yeah, before school I take all my kids school shot. I'm like, who your kids, bro? Because I'm one of them.
Right. Ain't
I'm
seen
waiting for
a
I'm waiting for
shoe.
$20.
Right. I remember I asked that man for some money. He said, nah, go ask your grandma. My grandma said, ask me. That's your child. Like, Fox was like, man, come on now, mama. You spoiled them. She like, spoil them. I need money to take care of them. Them your kids. But yeah, Fox was something else. That man had a different mindset, sense of humor.
I would say,
All of that.
the even though I didn't see him a lot, the best thing he gave me was those summers at grandma's house when that was the time we all got together. Uh, yeah, we didn't hang a lot, afterwards, but those summers was great times. We all came and we stayed for like a month. all 10 of us sleeping on the basement floor downstairs. Grandma used about what, a bag of fries and some chicken tenders, and that's what we ate for the next week until she felt like cooking.
That, and I was telling the story the other day. Must we have the conversation about our older brother, about that one summer when y'all was all there and Doris had everybody line up. Doris tore us all up. He said, "Stand straight." Doris beat up everybody.
Man,
That dude. Let me not speak him up because he might call everybody. Ask for some money. That dude. But yeah. So next question. In those initial days, did you feel a sense of guilt for being happy, for not grieving enough, or for any other reason? And how did you navigate that feeling?
oddly enough, I don't know what it was, but those like the week before, the days before, I felt something coming. I didn't know what, because every morning I would like check my phone and hold my breath, like when I wake up in the morning. So I kind of felt so, because I even talked to my mom about it, like, because I thought it was the baby, and I was extra protective around that time, and I would tell my mom like, I can't shake this feeling that something bad's about to happen, because we weren't even supposed to give birth that day. What's crazy is we went in for her checkup. The baby wasn't due for like another week or two. We went in for her checkup, and they was like, "Oh, we're gonna check," and they put us in the room, and it was like, "We just gonna make you have you deliver now." So I wasn't even supposed to be put in that situation, but
Mhm.
thankfully enough, I was, because the baby being there helped me navigate the process.
Wow.
So, like they say, everything happens for a reason. I feel like that was God putting an anchor in my life to help me through the situation.
Wow. Wow. You're like doing that. I don't know about you, but after a Falcons pass, it's like when you lose a parent or something like that, people don't realize like you don't know until you do. It's like a part of you just feels like it's missing, like it's there. So it feels weird,
Yeah, because
just
it's like you never you never understand the concept of you'll never get to talk to a person again.
because when Falcons died, like my biggest grieving, I was strong at the services, but my biggest grieving, and even to this day, is grieving the fact of never being able to experience a father.
Yeah, that was because I lost my stepdad too when I was like 12, 13. So that was really like my second time losing a father. And Tazir was damn near like my third. So it was like, you know, because even my mom, my mama hated him.
So
She did
Falcons,
not, yeah, she did not like him. Like, but she always used to tell me, like, she always used to tell me randomly, forgive him. You know, that's your father, but, he didn't do right, but forgive him, because, that's just him. That's how he was raised. Well, not raised. Grandma don't play that. But no, that's just him, and you can't fault him for being him. Well, she will always say, eh, "This is coming from a person that don't like him. Like, forgive him." Because like I said, in my later years, like that's when I started to turn, like because like I said, when I was younger, you couldn't tell me nothing about Falcons. Falcons was the best father alive.
and I couldn't stand him, and I couldn't stand my birth mother. I was like, I get stuck with two deadbeat parents. Like for real, I'm like, no shade to them, but I'm just like, how did that happen? Um, Janae said you grieved twice almost. You grieved for a relationship while you were alive and when they die. Very well said. Okay. I like
Yeah,
that.
because if you don't know, she lost both her parents too.
Wow.
So she was also coming from an experienced person for me, and it was just so much of that time, because she going through her after giving birth care, and she's over. It was it's I can never thank her enough for being there, because she wasn't in the space to be there, if you know what I mean. Because like I said, she just had a baby.
Mhm.
Uh, but her knowledge of having to go through the situation really, really helped me a lot, because she knows how to navigate this way better than I do.
Mm. Wow. Powerful. God has a way of bringing people together, and she is exactly what you needed, and you were what she needed. And I mean, it's a blessing. 'Cause, I mean, like for me, I've been grieving two parents not being there through life. And when Falcus passed away, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's still hard to believe he's not still here because he wasn't here then. You know what I mean? He didn't pick up the phone and answer and say nothing. Like I didn't get to call him or say nothing, but I didn't knew like he
You
was
know,
here.
it's crazy that you said it because yeah, it's like that. But then you also remember that you don't have the opportunity to do it, and I think that's what gets you. Like you didn't do it anyway, but you know that. But now you know there's no chance that it can happen.
Mhm.
You know because there's times where uh you know what? Because towards his end, I randomly was like texting Jaden like, "Hey, you know, is Falcons good? You know, he good. Where y'all staying? I'm gonna come see him. Yada yada." And it's like you never get the chance. You never get the chance to do that anymore on
Mhm.
your own accords. You know, without them being here. You know, without them being sick.
'Cause I honestly, if I could go back and change some things, I would. I wouldn't be so much in my head about my experiences growing up, and feeling some type of way about how I was treated. I would probably try to at least try, but one time I did. I remember I was talking to him and I went to go see him and that man treated me like a complete stranger. And that like hurt my feelings. I went over Trusca.
I tell my wife this all the time. Like whenever you come up, and I say, for you to be doing what you're doing, you came from a place where not gonna speak on anything that was happening, but you came from a place where like nobody probably could have imagined it. You know, and I tell her all the time, like Destiny damn near might be the strongest person I know just coming from her environment that she came through and to do this, like I wouldn't have been mad if he was a crash out. You know, because I would have expected just from the environment you grew up with two brothers in grandma's house. You know, you didn't have a father, you didn't have a relationship with your father, you didn't have a relationship with your mother. A lot of people just give up right there. And you know, I was there for some of the stuff you went through, some of the stuff you didn't. Like I said, I'm not speaking on it, but you know what you went through. I know you know what you went through. I know some of what you went through, and to see that flourish into what it is now is just great.
Because a lot of people don't understand what I had to walk through, living with grandma and with our older with the brothers and all of that. And sometimes I feel left out. I feel not seen, or I feel like I'm forgotten, and it hurt. I ain't gonna lie, it really does. And I feel like I gotta constantly stay strong in a sense. But I'm human, but even with Falcons passing, like that hit different. I was like, I really am a stranger. I really am the black sheep, and all I'm doing out here is trying to focus and figure out my life and can do these different things and these great things, and
I
that's
mean,
just
I was surprised. I was surprised you came because personally, I didn't think you was. Just from the relationship y'all had growing up, I wouldn't. I'll be honest. I barely wanted to go, just from the situation experiences. But uh, my mama, like I said, my mama who didn't really have a good relationship with was the one was like, no, you need to go to let go of any because it ain't necessarily like uh I don't know how to say it. It ain't necessarily like I went because I was so close to this person. It was really so much. I'm going to let go of all this hate, all this, all these bad feelings I got. I'm going to let this go.
yeah.
This is my last chance to let it go, or I'm gonna hold on to it forever. That's what she kind of told me. Like, this is your chance to go. Uh, because even when because I called her, I think I called her first when I
Mhm.
was leaving the hospital. Like, hey, such Falcons, and she told me go up there and tell him anything you need to tell him. This is your chance to get 20 something years of, everything you had. Because like I said, you didn't see him as much as I did, but it was times where I was like, damn, like, my man, I ain't got nobody for advice. I ain't got nobody for nothing. And it was like, uh, because even the only kids he had was Tayshawn and Jaden. And Tayshawn when he went to jail, wound up leaving.
Yeah.
So it was like, how do you pick and choose what kids you deal with and who you deal with? Because I done seen him going above and beyond for kids not his, but
That part.
when it come to your actual kids, you nickel and diamond, or how can I, just do this to get you out my face?
Right.
And thankfully I had a mother that was there for me. But what about the rest of his kids? And then what about you? What about Doris? What about Kamishi? What about Tayshawn? Like, it's like you bringing all these kids in the world. And first of all, I got to put fault on his baby mamas, because what was y'all thinking? Was he hiding us? What was going on? I told my mom all the time, because she would say so. I said he got a lot of kids that's older than me. So what what does that say about you? But I forgot where I was. Shit.
Yeah, he do. Parker's got a lot of kids, and Papa was definitely a Rolling Stone, and he definitely, you
But
know,
I've seen people that have a lot of kids, like Tajir didn't have as many kids as he is as Falcons, but Tajir had a good number. What was it, like 5, 6? I think somewhere around there.
he had Didi Kwame, Kimberly, Anissa, and Kamari.
Yeah, and I see he always got time for all his kids. You don't even you don't even have to have all of us, but if you just, because even when he used to come and pick us up, he used to put us in the house and leave. We ain't see Fox used to, but tell me if I'm wrong. Fox used to come get us, drop us off, and he come back at night with groceries, pizza rolls, noodles, and whatever he finna cook for the night. And the
And
next morning he out again,
gone.
and
Just
he'll be there Sunday to drop everybody back off.
yeah. And it's like for me, like I had to realize too, like, because I didn't realize, like, I'm like, why my birth mother not in the picture? And I had to realize when I got older, his grandma was telling me different things. I was like, at least I have a chance with her. And then I was like, I don't got a chance. I was like, there's no chance, and I'm telling you, nothing hit harder than wanting. I had blocked off so much of how much hurt I experienced with Falcus and his mom raising me and seeing him be everything to someone else's kid. And then Zalika and his nieces and nephews and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what did I do? I feel like out of all his kids, I got the least love, the least acknowledgement. And I didn't understand that. So I was like, I don't care. I started hating him real bad when I was young. And I was like, hey, eventually I get to be my mama. And then I was disappointed. And I was like, yeah, I don't
I
know.
didn't like start hating him, but I started to feel like because when you older, you start to realize stuff better than when you were younger. So when I was older, when I became older and I saw like everywhere that he lived, like when he lived in Victorian Village, and he lived in Paddock, and he lived, I see, I drive past all these places every day. So I'm like, when I see it, it's like, damn, he really was by me my whole life, and I never saw this man. Like literally, my whole life, my entire life, I lived by you, and I never saw this man. So I started, because when I got older, he started needing me, and it fucked up. But I kind of did him how he did me. Like, I'm gonna leave you on red, or I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. And it's like, you can't. That's another thing. You can't. You can't put off your kids, because you never know who you gonna need them later in life. Because like if it wasn't for Jaden, that man would be he would have been by himself all his life for his end days, because Jaden was the one taking care of him.
And I think about that too. Like Doris and I, biological mother, like I think about the day where I get a phone call, I get something, or see a notification of something on Facebook that say something that happened to her, and I'm just like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be falling in the same predicament as I did with Falcons. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's something when you don't get to experience a mother and a father's love for your biological parents. It hit different. It do all of that. And if I
I
could,
say the big, I say the biggest thing, which my mama told me a lot, is get get all those feelings out while you can. Because, like I said, the worst thing you can do is they gone and you still got all these feelings and you can't tell them about it. Because my mama raised me all my life, but at the end she started to see like all the little stuff that we bumped heads about or she felt like she did wrong, and she would come to me like I'm sorry for this. I'm like, where this coming from? And so like it allowed me to get some stuff out that I needed to, and I feel like that made it harder to deal. It makes it easier to deal with a passion when you get out what you need to get out because you're not holding on to it. You might not think you hold on to nothing because you like, oh fuck them, like I don't care about them, I don't need them. But when it happens, you feel you feel a part of you that you never felt before.
yeah,
You know, because grief is hard, and you know you can say you're gonna be the toughest person. Like I'm not gonna care, I'm not gonna cry when they gone. I'm not. It's not gonna matter. But you lose them, and it's like damn, like I didn't know I was gonna feel. I didn't know I was gonna feel like this because even Jada was sad, and Jada met him maybe twice. You know what I'm saying? And you know, uh, and it's hard for her.
mm, mm. Everything, it, all of this, like it just it hit different. It hit different. Like let me tell you this: when that night when I found out that Falcus, you had called me and you let me know he was gone and all of that. I expected my birth mother to be there for me, and it was a bunch of nonsense. The things that she said was just off the wall. It was humorous, but I was like, I'm trying to grieve, but I can't laugh at the same time. But it just made me realize, like, I'm in this world alone, like for real. Like when I, like you said, like when I left grandma's, when I was 17, and then I was out, all by myself. I know a lot of people didn't know what I was doing or whatever, but I I was determined. I was like, I'm not turning back because I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel cared for. I didn't feel any of those things. I just was like, it's just me against the world. It is what it is. I'm gonna try to grab success as much as I can, but I was just like, it's something the importance about being a parent that a lot of people don't understand from the kids' experience.
Mhm.
And just having to, you're not just mourning the loss of someone that helped create you. You're mourning the loss of, I'm not gonna experience a father. I'm not gonna be able to ask this man legitimately what are some of the traits that I have of you. Like let's talk about Grandpa Roger's side of the family. Let's talk about the fact that we don't know any of his side of the family, and then finding out from Grandma Sheila that we have a great grandma, um, what's her name, Juanita, that's alive, and we got family in California. Like like we don't know nothing about that man. We only knew about the Smiths, and we only knew the
See,
kids his grandmother knew.
that's a hard part too. That I was never around that side of family to really know about other family. Like I just know grandma, and because all our family stay in the valley. So I just know about everybody in the valley,
Yeah.
people that was coming to the family reunion, but you never really get to learn about, nothing else besides like the stories Tyzer used to tell me, anything like that. But I think that's another thing too that, you know, missing out on your child after you're gone, if whatever you don't tell them or didn't tell them, it's gone now. You know, they're unless like, like because with me, my parents are gone. So after me, if I don't tell my son that, to nobody, it's not gonna be nobody out there to let you know.
And I think that's important, like to know that you're willing to write the story differently, break that generational curse in being a father to my nephew, because some of our siblings, they're going down the road that Falcus was going down, and it's that's how could you experience something like that and then want to give that experience to your child? You
And
know,
another thing, like I always just say, like my biggest goal was to be a better father than him, and I used to tell him to be a better father, but I feel like that creates some resentment because I feel like if you say that too much, you're just comparing and contrasting with that person. You're not being the parent that you're supposed to be. You're being the parent that you don't want that you wanted them to be. You know. So I have to because I always used to tell my mom that and she would be like, nah, you don't want to be a better parent than him. You want to be the best parent that you can be. Just learn from everything, all the stuff you felt and everything. Just learn from that because I always make jokes. You saw a joke I made today where I was like, damn, if Falcons ain't want to babysit, that's all
Yeah,
he had to say. But it's kind of sad that, my son never got to meet him. But I was able to tell Falcons, like, hey, you got a grandson that's gonna be born. Uh, he's gonna be born in the next couple hours. So I got that out and I felt that was, what I needed to say to him.
that's real good. 'Cause it's like for me, like the biggest thing for me in my future is I want to be a wife. I want to be married. My husband. I can't wait to meet him. But still working on me. But I want my future kids to have more of a healthy character than I want them to have certain things or to me to do certain things for them because Falcons character was got a little bit messed up. You know what I mean? Like anybody over your kids is crazy. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. Your kids need what you take care of somebody else needs. Like it's just that's important and to be have empathy, to be loving and caring, like it's just I can't imagine how grandma might have felt that she felt as a parent, watching how he moved and navigated. And, it just I couldn't even begin to fathom or understand that as, like as a parent, even though I'm not one, like watching your child do or say certain things and you're just like, well, kind of I didn't raise them like that or I don't know why they're like that. And it's just like, once they grown, they grown. When Falcons was grown, couldn't nobody tell him what to do. He was doing whatever he wanted to do when he was younger. So it's just like, I don't know. I just think character is everything and respect. Grandma, that's one thing she had us doing. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Those manners, that character, that development, like that stuff like that, discipline, it's important. It's definitely important to have. Um, I'm gonna flow into a few more questions. That's okay.
Mhm.
Okay. The reality that the siblings on our birth father's side are not close. How did the memorial service in the subsequent events force a spotlight on the distance?
Uh, you know how our siblings are. They got cliques. So everybody, one person get along with one person don't get along with one person, and like me, I'm like partial to everybody. The only person I was really close with was Jada, but nobody ever met Jada. Was Jada there? I don't remember.
At the funeral service, yeah, I took a picture, but I don't know. Everybody kind of hate me. I don't know what I did. so,
I don't hate you.
so I don't.
But like I'm more of the level headed one where like I get along with everybody because like I don't have no ill feelings toward nobody. I don't have nothing. So just seeing like even how they treat you, like like everybody want to like be impartial, or everybody like don't want to speak. But I'm like, this all we're here more than loss of our father. If anything, this should want to bring us closer together.
Right.
And that just kind of showed me like we just still childish. Like we still can't get over this little shit. And you know what? It's not our fault. It's Falcons' fault. I really feel like that because as siblings, like because at one point me and Tayshawn was like this. He lived with us. Um, but at the end of the day, I'ma still communicate with all my siblings. Doris may be batshit crazy, but I still speak to him. Uh, I never really saw Aaron growing up, but me and Aaron cool. We can still have a conversations. I met My first time seeing Jada was at my son's baby shower. But me and Jada talk damn near at least on the phone at least once a week. So I just feel like I said, it's his fault, but we still should have been able to, come together as siblings at this time.
Well, yeah. Did the shared grief temporarily close that gap? And if so, how did it feel when the distance returned afterwards? Like, did you like feel like Did you see any of us come close together? I mean, in all honesty, at the picture, I wish I could put the picture up that we took with all of us. We were so distant. It was so weird. It was so awkward at the repast. We really didn't say much to one another. Grandma was on the other side. It just made me sad. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah, but like I said, it's not our fault. I can't fault none of us for that because that's how we grew up. Even when Falcons used to come get me, it'd be me, Tayshawn, Jaden, and either me, Tayshawn, Jaden, and Kamisi, or me, Tayshawn, Jaden, and Aaron. It was never really everybody together. And when we were together, like I think Aaron and Tierion grew up more. So when we was all together, they was clicked up.
yeah,
Or me and Tayshawn, because Falcons got 4 kids the same age. So
I
me and
think
Tayshawn the same.
because you and Tayshawn, and then it's what,
No, me, Tayshawn, and
and
Dontrell.
then
We all the same
Ariana,
age.
and Aaron, and Kamisi, I think, and then Heaven and Jalen are around the same age because you remember our little brother Jalen, he's the youngest.
Which one?
Cindy's son, the biracial one.
Okay.
Yeah, he the one that really looked like Falcus for real. I think he's like
Yeah, 100%.
23.
Yeah.
And then we
And Jada and you got Jada and Jalen the twins.
And then like we got an older sister, never met. That's in Keokuk, Iowa. I don't know if Grandma ever told you about that. We have an older sister.
I told see, Johnny, I'm not lying. I told her about the other day. Like I got siblings I never even met before.
And it's like I would
Remember?
love to meet my big sister, but I would never want to bring her into this dysfunction.
I told her I used to go to grandma's house every summer and get a new sibling. That was the same age. Like, I randomly met Dontrell one day. He was just at grandma's
I remember
house.
when I met Monique. I was like, I got a sister named Monique. You remember Monique? She in
Nah.
Florida. Yeah. She out here living her best life. But yeah, we got a sister named Monique. Monique, wait, she around the same age as y'all. So I think, yeah, I think he got about 4 or 5 kids the same age. Yeah. It's like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. It's sad.
In my head.
It's sad. It's like, wow. It's wild out here. I'm glad that 93 was just my year as far as I'm concerned. I had somebody on my podcast.
Yeah, for now.
Or I had somebody on my
I
podcast
just-
a couple weeks ago, and they was like, "Yeah, Falcons got like what 23 kids." 23. I know about 18.
And it's just crazy how like big our family is because our cousin Tamisha, I randomly met Tamisha showed up to school as a new kid, and everybody with the last name Smith. I'm being funny, like, yeah, that's my cousin. Next week I go to grandma's house and guess who that? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was wild. At that point, I was like, "Yeah, nah, you're Smith. I'm gonna assume that you're my sibling. I'm gonna
Man, my wife, she said her mother married name was Smith. I'm like,
right. Auntie, cousin.
what? Let me see your family tree. Let me make sure. Anybody, I don't care if your uncle that's married into the family last name Smith. I need to check this.
Right, I remember Grandma. She said when somebody come up, be like Grandma. She just assumed that they talking to her. Hey, baby, how you doing? So many kids, she ain't even denying it. Shoot, that means
Like I said, I used to go to grandma's house. She be like, yeah, your brother such and such. I'm like, who? Or you got your brother? Because like I said, I went to grandma. We was always, the thing was me, Tamisha, Jaden, Tayshawn. When summer break was over, that next Monday, we all at grandma's house. I remember I went to grandma's house that Monday, and Dontrell was sitting on the couch. I'm like, Grandma, who him?
yeah,
That's your brother.
Was the wildest one, but I think his response out of everybody's response when Falcons passed was the most. It was the most honest and rawest one.
See, what's crazy is how different spectrums, because him and Jada got the same mom and dad. So hearing his response and then seeing Jada's response, it's like, damn.
Yeah, that was. I think that was just Dontrell way of just like, man, like.
I couldn't fault him for it. But like I told him, I said, I'm just letting you know, I don't want nobody to be in the dark about it. How you feel is how you feel. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. I'm not gonna tell you how not to feel. But I just want to make sure you got the information, because, like I said, I was the one that told every sibling that I knew that we had that I probably thought wouldn't know. I made sure to tell them.
Man, I appreciate it. That's why I turned the favor about Uncle Tazir because I knew how close y'all were. That was like important for real, for real. Next question. What is the core reason from your perspective for the lack of closeness among our siblings and family? And what steps, if any, have you taken since that day to try to bridge the divide?
Uh, the biggest thing is our father didn't show no effort to make us to get to know each other. You know, even if you got all these kids, you should have still, made sure that we was close as siblings.
Yeah.
And I feel like get older, as we got older, we could have did a better job of it too. But to each his own. Like I said, me and Jada made a relationship out of nothing. I don't know. I don't even know how it started. But what started as because me and like I said, growing up in high school, me and Tayshawn was the closest. And then as I got older, now me and Jada close. We talk all the time. She tell me, she called me about her man problems, and I feel like I could be a big brother now. But I feel like we all are just like so much older that we should have did better. But I mean, any of my siblings know they can talk to me or call me. One of them reach out every now and then. Uh, but I mean, it is what it is. It shouldn't be like that, but I feel like now everybody got their own path. But I wouldn't, if any of them called me, I wouldn't, I wouldn't turn anybody down.
Mhm.
Probably except Doris.
All right, because he asking for some money. That dude hated me the most, and he be calling me asking, talking about some desk. Man, I be thinking, I been in here. You know that TV show you used to watch when we was younger, and he's like, I was just thinking, like I miss you. You got like $100 that you could send me? Do you try to kill me a couple times when I was younger? I know you lying.
Man.
100? No, I'm not gonna send you $100. It's the kindness of my heart. I send you 25. But nah, like I don't know. But sometimes I do wish I could be close with siblings because it's the same thing on my birth mother's side too. Like she failed to bring us all together, but you know, it's a lot on both sides. But I I don't know. I don't force it, but I wish that I could have that type of dynamics with you all as well as with my siblings on my birth mother's side, and just to see what that is because like I told you before, sometimes I just be like, I'm out here alone. I ain't got no biological family. You know what I mean? Like it hit different. Like I feel like I never got to experience for real being like a sibling, having an older sibling, everybody always joke about how Doris felt as an older brother. You know what I mean? Whatever. But yeah, like those dynamics. But I wouldn't even know how to do it, to be honest with you. I still feel like I'm still working through a lot of just things that I was dealing with. But I'm trying to bridge that
I'm,
gap.
I mean, you never want to force it. I mean, you are you. Uh, I mean, you did this long without family to. I mean, not wanting to be like that, but you did it this long. Why should you try to be the one to bridge that gap? Why should you try to overextend yourself to do it? I mean, keep doing you. I mean, don't ever feel like you ain't got no family though, because you can always shit. You can always call me. You can always text me. You can always whatever. Shit, we can come out there and see. Just let us know. But like I said, I'm always the one for any of my siblings. Shit, Jada I think when I first moved down here, Jada came and saw me in August. She drove down here and I told her, make sure your bald head ass stop by and come say hi to your big brother.
Yeah, I gotta reach out to her, see how she doing or whatnot. Now y'all boys, when y'all all get together, y'all be saying some of the off the wall stuff.
I don't say nothing. I wouldn't say that my wife was right next to me. I would have got smacked.
Down Trail, on the other hand, he be starting that weird stuff. Just out of nowhere, just saying stuff. When I told him I was like, Courtney getting married, he was like, oh, fuck that nigga. I was like, what did he do to you? like,
No, but that that fuck that nigga came from a good place. You know, it's different. That's how we communicate. That's how we communicate. But that's how we communicated when we first got to know each other. You know, it wasn't no, hey, brother. It
Wait,
was
did
like,
y'all fight the first time?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our whole relationship started on a fight. You know, it was. It was. We didn't start by saying, hey. We was like, man, fuck you. You ain't my brother, nigga. But you know, we both know that, you know, if even if we say this stuff, you know, people on the outside be like, damn, y'all talk to each other like that. But that's just how that's how we talk to each other. That's how we express to each other. We both know it's not coming from a good place. Like when you text me, he text me some off the wall shit. And I was just like, hey man, come on now. But I knew it wasn't from a place of, you know, ill will.
Yeah, the boys got a weird way of communicating because it's only like Falcons was deep with them boys. I say that he was deep. Like, and I got what 14 baby mamas, 13, 14 baby mamas, and then
I stopped counting.
we got
At this point, if somebody knocks on my door right now and said they was Falcons kid, I say welcome to the family. I wouldn't ask for nothing. You don't need to tell me nothing. If y'all last name Smith and you say Falcons was your father, come on in, brother.
mm, that part, man. Mm, no. I got a few more questions for you.
All
So,
right.
what is one unspoken narrative or emotional truth about our birth father that you believe is important for the siblings and the listeners to acknowledge for true healing to begin?
Uh, ain't necessarily about him. This is just in order to heal. You know, if you feel like a person did you wrong all your life or they wronged you, let it go. You know, ain't no point. You hold on to something that person couldn't give two fucks about. Because like we were saying, we felt this way, but to Falcons, he was the best father. He was the father of the year. You know, so you hurting behind a person that feel like that they did everything in a right possible mind for you, and they did everything for you. So my biggest thing is just let that hurt go. You know, you can't be holding on to that because when they gone, they gonna be gone, and you gonna be still there with that hurt on your heart for no reason, and you can't let go of it now because that person's gone.
Yeah, that part. Um, narrative, emotional truth about your birth. I would say the same thing too, but I would also say like feel those feelings, but don't let those emotions drive you to the point where it dictates every single aspect of your life. You know, God have us go through certain things and so we can be a living testimony for people, you know, to say, hey, you can still keep going and stuff like that. But if you're a parent out there and you're watching, you're listening, please, for the love of God, get right with God, get right with your children because time waits for no one. Just just do that because no one should have to grieve you twice while you're alive and while you're here. I mean, while you're alive and while you're dead. Next question. In the wake of this lost and chaotic timeline, what does the word hope mean to you now compared to what it meant 3 years ago?
Um, that's a hard one. Shit. Um, I really couldn't tell you. Uh, I don't know if I have a different perspective on it just because, uh, like I said, I felt it coming, so I was kind of braced for it. And I've been through a lot of shit these past couple months. I mean, past couple years. So like, uh, uh, I don't know. I'm stumped on that one.
Okay. Like, what wisdom have you gained that you believe will one day pass on to your child or children about the necessity of feeling and processing difficult emotions?
Uh, love on that person while they here, and it will be easier because the last thing you want to do is somebody to be gone and you couldn't tell them something. So make sure that because like I said, my mom always told me forgive them, forgive them, forgive them. Let go of all those feelings So when it does happen, you not processing, instead of just processing grief, you processing anger, you sad, you feel some kind of way, all these different emotions coming out, and now you don't know how to process it. And the one person that you feel this way towards, they gone. You know, so I would just say, make sure that person knows how you feel while they're here, and love on them while you can.
Beautifully said. If you could send a single message of comfort or love to the part of yourself that was navigating those impossible 48 hours, what would you say?
Um, Kind of like look at the bright side. Like, yeah, he gone, but you just, because like I said, I couldn't process what was going on at the time. That's another joke I make. Like, damn, bro, you gonna take this day away from me? Like, you gonna be a messed up father to me, and on my day I become a father, you gonna do this to me? How dare you? Uh, but um, stick the course. Um, just let all your feelings process, let everything go through, and then just focus on becoming the best father that you can be, or the best partner you can be. Because both of my views of, like, I was like, when me and my wife are talking about marriage and stuff, I was like, my view on love is so fucked up, because I don't have no positive, even because even my mom was she lost her husband. And I was
Mhm.
like, every view of love I have, my father got 20 baby mamas, my mom a widow. All my views of love are messed up. So I would just say, uh, I keep losing my train of thought. uh,
Take your time.
what was the question again? What was the
The,
question again?
the question was, if you could send a single message of comfort or love to the part of yourself that was navigating those impossible 48 hours, what would you say?
Oh yeah. Uh, love on the people that love on you, because they there for you. You know, if I didn't have my wife, if I didn't have my mom, if I didn't have my son, he don't know. He don't ever know how much he helped me through those days. They tell you don't take the baby out the thing, but he was on the couch laying with me, and I was just staring at him. He ain't know who I was, but I know who he was.
Um, Beautifully said. I love that. Mm. I had one person there for me, and she is a true blessing. It was the Miss Freeman. There was a lady that came with me to the. I know everybody was like, "Who is this lady?" Um, she was the one person that was there for me through it all, and that was a blessing for me. And you're right, love on the people who are there for you, and she was the reason why I was strong. And the family that I knew that loved and cared about me, that was there no matter what. And grandma know about her, and grandma knew she is like a mother figure to me, and it's a blessing. Shout out to her. She said great advice, Courtney. So shout out to her.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, and one for her, I wouldn't even be the woman I am today. So I give great thanks to who she is and her obedience to God. So yeah, shout out to her. Um, Second to last question: what advice would you give the people, the parents, the grandparents, whatever, on? And I know we talked about this area of this earlier about getting your affairs in order, getting your stuff in order. What advice would you give them to start preparing now for their transitioning out of this world, and the relationship and the importance of being having it with their children?
Um, um, the biggest thing about getting prepared is getting your services in order, saying what you writing down what you want, because when that day comes, it becomes into it's not what you want. People always say what they think you would want, or what they think you would like. Uh, so the biggest thing is get your money stuff in order. Make sure you got all that taken care of. Like I said, you might want to get a lawyer. They'll help you process everything. They'll help you get everything together. Uh, I say your services. Make sure that you say what you want. If you want, some people. My mom, she didn't want a funeral. She just wanted everybody to celebrate her. We cremated Falcons, but That was because we didn't have no extra money for him. We didn't have nothing like that. Life insurance, that's a big one. Like people people always don't think life insurance is the great investment it is. You know, I don't if y'all don't know how expensive funerals are. They're expensive, very expensive. We didn't have a funeral for my mom, and it was like 8 grand, I think.
Wow.
So just make sure, and thankfully we didn't have to pay for a burial because her husband was a vet. But life insurance, I know everybody when you get to that point on your job stuff, everybody be like, I ain't gonna need life insurance. I ain't gonna die no time soon. But anything can happen. Somebody can swerve off the road and hit you. Somebody could be having a bad day, and with all these shootings and stuff going on, you always want to be prepared. So I would say life insurance, and it's usually not that expensive. That's a big one, and it's not like I said, it's not just for you. It also helps generate wealth for your kids, your grandkids, stuff like that. Put them in a good position, where your death ain't just to where your death is just a bad thing for them. You know, you can help them out in the long run a lot with that.
Mm.
Um, as far as how to process, like I said, just be around loved ones. No way. Yeah, that's not a time to be alone. A lot of people do want to be alone, but I couldn't tell you. My wife can tell you. We was both sitting on the couch crying because we both going through a lot of the time. We wasn't doing nothing. We had the baby between us. We was on separate end of couches just crying. uh, but at that moment it helped because we were still there for each other. We were both like in bad places spaces in life, but we had each other.
Beautifully said. I love that. And to like add on to that as well, if you trust somebody and to carry out your wishes, get that wrote down, get that put into your will, get that put into your stuff because it's just important. Because again, everybody feel like they obligated to some stuff, and in reality, it's like just pick somebody. Because when people pass, everybody want to be the leader, and in reality, it makes it messy. Like, get your
Hmm.
stuff in order now. Go pick out your funeral home that you want to have stuff together, your casket. Just get it all wrote down so you can just go ahead and just hand it to them. All right, they no
I
longer
mean,
here.
you ain't got to do that. If you talk to a person and then you put that person as and you write down and say, "Hey, this is the person I want to have everything." I mean, that works too. You don't have to write every single thing down. If you know a person that has all your wishes and would take care of everything, just have that person as the contact for everything.
And give them that paperwork and that information because I'm learning that. Before I ask this last question, I want to give you a moment to talk about your mom. Would you like to talk about your mom? Would you like to just like, shout out anything? Because Shantae, I remember growing up that Shantae, she knew about Doris and I. So she loved on us as well, just remembering a little bit of that, and she was a good woman. She was a good person. She really was. She was one out of the baby mamas where I was like, she ain't that bad compared to the rest of
uh, I would say her passing was easiest because uh I figured this out afterwards, but she was preparing me for a while, and just little stuff like uh teaching me certain stuff and just saying certain stuff. So we're like afterwards, I was like, you knew the whole time. Uh, trying to see what else. Uh, shout out to her. Simply put, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to her. 'Cause she did an amazing job, despite Falcus not being there, despite losing your stepdad. Him being a father to you, like you would not be the man you are today if it wasn't for what she was to you. So shout out
hundred
to her.
percent, 100%.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't even reached out to me or said anything to me about the passing of Falcons. Like I shout out to her for that. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you, with the passing of your mom. And then, when I found out, again, I've been doing a lot of traveling, 50, 11 different things that's going on. And I realized I do need to slow down. And I have been slowing down. So yeah. And I want you to know that I am open to having a relationship with you. And I hold nothing towards anybody. I'm just going through my feels or whatever that may be. But I'm here for you, little
I don't,
bro.
like I said, I don't got nothing towards nobody. And I don't want you to think that I ignore you. I don't talk to you. I be so busy. Like, uh, when my mom passed, I adopted my little sister, and
Mhm,
we packed up and we moved to Texas.
mhm,
So this year just been chaotic, to say the least. So like when you text me and stuff, I'll be at work or I'll be wrangling this little rascal, or we doing something. I got something going on. But like I said, I all my siblings, I have nothing towards none of y'all. Nothing except for Doris, because brother. Uh,
Not too much. Him and I will. We share the same birth father and birth mother.
but yeah, like I said, I'm always open to a relationship.
Mhm. Give that to God and pray that we continue to work on that. Last question. Finally, what is the single most enduring piece of love, a memory, a lesson, or feeling that our birth father, your mother, or Uncle Tazer left with you?
Uh, I get one for each of them. Fox gave me a lot of great summers by being at grandma's house and hanging with my siblings. Uh, we didn't do nothing but go outside, come back in. Grandma fed us. We just went back right back outside. But uh, cause my older sister, she's 7 years older than me, and my younger brother 6 years. So I really didn't have a choice of a sibling to hang out with. So it really gave me like a great summer because I probably would have been in the house playing a game or something. So it gave me a great summer to hang out with my siblings. We had a lot of fun. We did a lot of stuff. It's a great time. Tazer, uh, that man had some stories and what had me cracking up. When Falcons went to jail, when my stepdad died, he didn't just take care of me; he took care of my siblings. He would take me somewhere and he would come get them too. Uh, and also thankful for Kathy too because she's a great person also. But Tazer just we just had a lot. We had a lot of talks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Uh, there's a lot of talks that he didn't have to have because I'm not his kid. You know, uh, and him and my mom had a great relationship too. Because she was there. She was there with me when he was passing. And she was talking to Kathy and stuff. So they had a great relationship. And yeah, and then my mom. I could go for days. Um, just thanks for being there for us. She had 5 kids. None of us had a dad. You know, but and she always used to like. I used to get mad at her because she always used to say like, "I'm a bad parent." I'm like, "You got 5 kids." She said she's a bad parent because she found out we smoked weed. I'm like, "Lady, you got 5 kids. We all got jobs. We all make our own money. We all got cars. We don't have no criminal records. Like, you did a great job. You mad about weed?" I used to get so mad at her. Like, when she said, I looked at her like, "No way, you serious?" And she was like, "Yeah, y'all smoke weed." I'm like, "Usually, you act like you said we smoke crack or we out here doing hard drugs. I mean, we not bad."
She said it starts that way and it goes another way.
Man, she was so upset. She was like, "I feel like I failed as a parent." I looked at her and said, "You ever say it again, I might have to fight you."
Wow. Wow. I have a comment here that I didn't read. It says from Althea Curry, it says, Destiny, you are so strong and awesome for becoming the person you are despite your circumstances. God is so good. He is the ultimate father you need. Amen. Beautifully said. With that being the last question, is there anything you want to ask me or share or tell me before we wrap up this podcast episode?
I would just say for all the people out there dealing with grief, if you took anything from this conversation, uh let go of that baggage. Uh it ain't gonna do nothing but drag you down. Uh let go of all that, the hate in your heart, the ill feelings. Just let go of all that. And love on them while they're here, because the one thing you don't want to do is that person going and you thinking about how you could have said this, you could have did this, you could have hugged them more, you could have loved them more. Love them while they're here. And like I said, the biggest thing is make sure you got your affairs in order. The last thing you want to do is leave this earth and people are scrambling to try to do this and do that.
Anything that you want to share, like ask me or anything, or you good?
Uh, like I said before, I'm always open to a relationship with my siblings. I love you, always will. If you need me, you can call me. If you just want to hang out, I'll fly there. You can come. You can come here. It don't matter. Just let me know. Uh, um, but yeah, I don't want you to think that you out here alone, and because of how I don't want you to think what you think your other siblings think about you. I don't want you to think I reflect that. We all have different. We all feel differently. You already know the way they treated you when you was there. I had no part of that. I treat you completely different. I treat everybody the same. So like I said, with that being said, don't ever feel like you ain't got no relationship with your siblings or you can't have one, because you'll always have at least one.
I appreciate that. I love you, bro. I really do. Tamisha sent me a text message. I'm gonna read it because she ain't posted up here. She said, "Beautiful. I love watching y'all interact. It was so natural and organic. Love the vulnerability. Love the theme. Love the obvious connection between you two."
Ah,
Shout out to you, Tamisha. I'm about to get her and Elijah on here at some point.
I'm gonna say they should have been on here with us. Shit, we all done went through the same.
I'm about to get a podcast, so I'm about to do an episode where it bring us all in, and we do that. Um, thank you, Janae. She said you both have done an amazing job, especially the circumstances. I pray your relationship continues to grow. Aw, shout out to you, sis-in-law. I hope to get to know you, and I definitely will. Now that I didn't even know you work for the airlines. I might have to get you
Yeah.
up for some tickets. You still work? I didn't even know that, but yeah.
I just started this year.
Okay. Back at Southwest.
Hell no. I work for American.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm probably gonna hit you up because I don't know. I might decide. I want to. I need to travel some in next year, and I definitely make that be known because I got to meet my nephew. I got to meet him.
I got you.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna do my outro, and I have my theme song at the end or whatever. You don't gotta stay. I ain't gonna do much dancing. I'm just gonna play it. But yeah, but what a deeply moving, essential conversation. My profound gratitude goes out to my little brother, Courtney, for sharing his heart and wisdom on the unexpected call, a conversation on grief, love, and hope. His perspective reminds us that even in the deepest sorrow, there is always room for light and connection. If my little brother Courtney and I's story provided comfort or perspective for you, please help us by sharing this vital message. Head over to YouTube, search for Persperity Podcast, Persperity. Hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. I encourage you to share this episode with someone as well that may be navigating loss or seeking hope. Thank you again for joining us, and I'll be back next Monday with a new guest. Until then, remember, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Thank you, little bro. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.